It's a sea of old tires in the heart of New Mexico. One spark and it would be an environmental nightmare. The state's known about it and promised to deal with it when we exposed it 6 years ago. On special assignment, News 13's Chris McKee asked the state why it is not doing its job.
It's just way too much trash.
It's a huge property with a well-known messy history.
Just huge piles of tires.
Lined with a mile-long wall of tires, this trash-ridden land just south of Grants looks like a dump.
250,000 tires, junk cars, trucks, heavy equipment, boats.
But all of this garbage,
2 or 3 appliance dumps,
isn't a local landfill. It's one man's private property and what the state considers a hazardous illegal dump. It's also one they've known about.
trash everywhere.
But what hasn't happened with this property has now made some people
Right.
angry.
They were going to do something about it, but then they turned around and walked away from it.
Andrew Wilson knows the dump site well.
You could tell he'd been doing this for years and years.
A volunteer fire chief about 35 miles away in Rama,
It's a tanker.
Wilson also used to be an inspector for the New Mexico Environment Department. 6 years ago, he was part of a posse of state inspectors who toured the property. The state was looking to make the landowner, Sonny Small, clean it up. A Grants tire shop told News 13 in 2010 that Small was getting paid to take tires from shops around Grants on the cheap. Instead of paying to get rid of them properly, the state says Small was dumping tires on his land.
Environmentally, I could see that that was a really bad situation.
This is News 13's video from 2010. The state had major concerns about the tire dump turning into an inferno.
Large amounts of tires, when they catch on fire, you just can't put it out. There's just too much fuel.
State regulators also feared contamination from the rest of the trash would seep into the soil and groundwater.
We saw asbestos pipes.
The hazards were all very clear to the state, but Wilson says he was confident the Environment Department would follow through.
I thought, the state is going to step up and do their job. And that was 2010.
The reality today is far different. Sky News 13 surveyed Sonny Small's property again this month. Today, it's almost unchanged from the way it was 6 years ago. Roughly 250,000 tires, along with other trash covering the property, and the state says there are no permits for any of it.
The New Mexico Environment Department hadn't been doing their job in the western part of the state.
The Environment Department says groundwater hasn't been contaminated yet, but a tire fire could change that, along with spewing a plume of toxic smoke into Grants, something Wilson fears could overwhelm the nearby firefighters called to put it out.
We would definitely be called.
So why is the property still a mess? We took that question to the state. Catherine Roberts is the director of Resource Protection, which oversees solid and hazardous waste across New Mexico.
It sounds like the state was working on this and that somewhere along the way, work sort of stopped. Why did that happen?
Well, I would say you're absolutely right. That did occur.
The Environment Department acknowledged property owner Sonny Small submitted 2 cleanup plans between 2010 and 2013, but both were rejected.
The lead investigator who took on the case was forced to retire in 2013 because of health issues. Since then, the case has been passed from investigator to investigator, but nothing has ever been done.
Who dropped the ball here?
Well, it's a very good question. Do we have some responsibility here? Yes, we absolutely do. But what I can say is that we are working very diligently to move forward.
The state says it's once again ordered Sonny Small to come up with a new cleanup plan that's due next month. No matter what comes out of it, cleanup could take years.
There's a huge amount of tires on that site, and that's going to take considerably more time.
It could also cost Small a small fortune, hundreds of thousands of dollars, which the state isn't sure he has. But the state says Small will pay for it, and so far, he's been cooperative.
He is the responsible party, and we're going to hold him accountable for his actions.
Miles away in Rama, Fire Chief Wilson hopes this time the state keeps its promise.
They had better clean it up. Okay, they have to clean it up. And if they don't do it, they're hurting themselves.
On special assignment, Chris McKee, KRQE News 13.
So what if Small does not have the money to clean it up? Well, we asked the state about taking him to court or taking his property as an option. The state would only tell us that Small could be fined.